Hi there, and thanks for joining us for this late edition of ViuTV News. I'm Patrick Fok. Coming up, South Korea says more missile launches could be on the way as it conducts live drills a day after Pyongyang fires off its most powerful rocket yet. BRICS leaders condemn North Korea's missile test, also vowing to fight protectionism at the summit in Xiamen. And also tonight, Hong Kong police are investigating a suspected murder-suicide after a married couple are found dead below their luxury apartment balcony in Yan Ma Tei. All right, a day after Pyongyang launched its sixth and most powerful nuclear missile, South Korea now says it's seen signs the North is preparing more missile launches. This as the country held live fire drills with rockets launched from fighter jets and a simulated attack on the North's rocket testing site. Escalating tensions reached fever pitch over the weekend when Pyongyang conducted its largest nuclear test to date, prompting condemnation from countries around the globe. Neighbours Russia and China are in consensus on dealing appropriately with the issue. Meantime, the UN Security Council wants to implement harsher punitive sanctions against the nation. More on that story. Let's turn now to our correspondent in Seoul, Joseph Kim.
In the wake of North Korea's sixth nuclear tests, South Korea has responded with strength, conducting live fire drills with fighter jets and showing off its new ballistic missile. Pyongyang's nuclear test has become one of the biggest challenges for Moon Jae-in's new government, who has boasted overtures of peace on the Korean peninsula. But that may all have to change with the Blue House saying that they would apply maximum pressure to its northern neighbor. Still, South Korea's approach to North Korea ultimately differs with the United States, especially under U.S. President Donald Trump, who went on Twitter and criticized Moon Jae-in's government for trying to pursue dialogue, which he said would achieve nothing. This shows a policy rift between Seoul and Washington, and something North Korea perhaps had in mind when pursuing its weapons program, including nuclear deterrence, to try to divide allies. Following the nuclear test, Donald Trump has had zero conversations with South Korean President Moon Jae-in while holding 2 phone conversations with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe.
Joseph Kim there in Seoul. Well, meanwhile, the North Korean issue took center stage at the BRICS summit in Xiamen, with leaders calling for a peaceful resolution to the crisis. BRICS leaders also pledged to deepen cooperation and to fight against protectionism. Evelina Leung reports.
North Korea's nuclear missile threats casting a shadow over the BRICS summit in Xiamen. In a draft communique, BRICS members Brazil, Russia, China, India, and South Africa expressed disapproval towards Pyongyang's nuclear tests, but insisted the issue should only be settled through peaceful means and dialogue. This comes as U.S. President Donald Trump asked to be briefed on all available military options to tackle the problem. But the Pyongyang threat isn't the only issue dividing opinion between the U.S. and BRICS members. While Trump is pushing for a protectionist trade agenda, the 5 emerging countries are calling for more cooperation, with China pledging $76.4 million for a BRICS economic and technology cooperation plan. Beijing also promised another $4 million for projects at the BRICS countries' new development bank.
We should redouble our efforts to comprehensively deepen BRICS partnerships and open the second golden decade of BRICS cooperation.
His remarks were echoed by the Indian Prime Minister.
In an environment where we seek stability, sustainable development and prosperity, BRICS leadership will be crucial in driving this transformation.
The comments come just a week after the 2 countries agreed to end a 2-month standoff involving hundreds of troops along a Himalayan border area.
Now, as China gears up for the Communist Party meeting, which is only held once every 5 years, geopolitical tensions over Korea, looming trade wars with the US and worries about money leaving the country will all be high on the agenda. But there's another shadow lurking in the darker corners of Chinese society that the party is also trying to fight. That's the rise in sang culture among young people who aren't motivated and are worried about the future. Grace Lee has more.
At this busy tea house in Beijing, it's the tea names that keep its young customers coming back. The selections here at Sung Tea include Achieved Absolutely Nothing, My Ex's Life is Better Than Mine, and even a green tea called Waste of Life.
I bought a milk tea called You Are the Fattest. I'm on a diet right now, so I thought this was appropriate.
But what the cheeky titles reflect is something more serious. An increasing number of young Chinese people are becoming disillusioned with everyday life and embracing a culture called sang, after the Chinese character associated with the word funeral. Reuters' Irene Wang explains.
As China's economy slows down, young people are facing more pressure of rising housing prices, finding good job opportunities, and one child taking care of two parents and even their grandparents. So apparently, some culture gives them a way to cope with this hard life, and by reducing the hope for life, they don't have to endure the feeling of the failure.
For visitors at the cafe, embracing negativity is surprisingly cathartic.
Sometimes being a little bit sang is a good way to relax. I'm already hopeless, so in a way, it makes things easier.
That mentality is becoming increasingly widespread. This video of a local choir has become popular online with lyrics like, I'm so tired, I don't want overtime. I haven't even had time to remove my makeup in 18 days. Ultimately, sang is about making fun of how tough life can be, but the Chinese Communist Party is not a fan. Leaders describing it as an extreme and concerning attitude, and even calling out Sung Tea for peddling what it calls mental opium. As China prepares for its 5-yearly National Party Congress this fall, the clampdown on sang is expected to get even more intense. Though back at the cafe, there's little chance of that being met with any more than a shrug.
Local news now. Police are treating the death of a married couple in Yamate as a murder-suicide. An investigation is underway into how the pair died, but they're believed to have fallen from their flat in Yamate. Their bodies were discovered in the private gardens of 2 nearby apartments at the coronation early this morning. Police say it's possible the woman was stabbed to death first. She had stab wounds on her back, neck and hands. Officers found a knife and bloodstains in their home, adding that there were signs of a struggle. Well, there was drama at the Chinese University inauguration ceremony today. Banners with the words Hong Kong independence and the names of jailed activists written on them were hung around the university campus. The names of the Occupy protesters who are being prosecuted were also seen on the banners. They were all removed later on in the day. The student union admitted to hanging up the banners with the activists' names and said they simply wanted their peers to know that political persecution was happening in Hong Kong. In response, the university's vice-chancellor said students are free to express their opinions as long as they're not breaking the law.
I think our students, being a learned person, should look deeper into the problems and to see whether there are constructive ways to make our society a better one. If they have opinion to express, it should be done in a legal and also in a peaceful manner.
Sources say the chief executive is set to announce plans in her October policy address to build affordable homes for first-time Hong Kong buyers. The flats will reportedly cost much less than market price. Public housing tenants will be given priority to purchase them, but there's one key caveat. They have to hand their old homes back to the government. Stricter resale restrictions are likely to be part of the deal as well. That may include a rule against selling the homes within a 10-year timeframe. And more on the Ferris wheel controversy now. Newly appointed operator TECL said it's in talks with the company that's built the wheel. That's not to be confused with the former operator Swiss AEX. TECL said it tried its best for a smooth handover with its predecessor, but couldn't reach a consensus. A member of the Harbourfront Commission has urged the government to step in and solve the dispute. Ivanhoe said it wouldn't be rational or environmentally responsible to dismantle the wheel. Fears are it could be torn down because under its contract with the government, the old operator is meant to return the site to the government in its original state by the end of next month. Now, a looming vote at the United Nations on the status of the blue shark could take a bite out of business in Hong Kong, where shark fin trading still thrives. The species estimated to make up as much as 80% of sales here. Joel Flynn takes a look.
This is a pregnant blue shark being illegally caught off the coast of Peru. She's one of millions that make up a global trade many describe as immoral and unsustainable. And it's also one that Hong Kong is at the heart of. According to conservationists, 70% of all shark fins traded pass through this city. Activist efforts have helped reduce the number of fins coming into Hong Kong by nearly 40% in the last few years. But more recently, illegal supply has boomed.
So you just have to look at this global shark fishing industry. It's rife with corruption. There's no traceability whatsoever. There's no catch limits. There's slavery on these ships. I mean, it's a very immoral and a trade rife with corruption and illegality.
Overfishing is a key problem when it comes to sharks, but campaigners argue that so too is cruelty. Cruel or not, though, in Hong Kong, many argue it is key to Chinese tradition.
Shark fin, as well as other seafood, is popular in Hong Kong because it represents class and status for many people, and locals also like the taste of it. Even if shark fin is banned, it won't stop the trade because people will still want the other parts of the shark. Its meat is popular, bags and shoes are made from its skin, and its bones are used in medicine.
In just a few weeks, the United Nations will be considering adding blue sharks to a list that could soon see the species listed as endangered. For traders in Hong Kong, that could be a problem. Up to 80% of the fins sold here are from blue sharks. While people will rightly complain about the cruelty of the shark fin trade and of the need to protect species from slaughter, for many others, it is culture, not creature, that is under threat. Joel Flynn, ViuTV News, Shenzhen.
All right, up next, the latest from the world of business.